Chris Voss is a former international FBI hostage negotiator. In his book, Never Split the Difference, Chris reveals his battle-tested strategies for high-stakes negotiations. So with Chris, you are really getting the high-pressure negotiation tactics, and it can be very beneficial to learn what sort of things you learn as an FBI hostage negotiator. And with that scenario of being at such a high level of negotiating, what sort of elements can you strip out and apply to your general life? And this is what Chris tries to get across. And I've tested some of the methods in my own life, and with experience is very applicable. And a lot of credit to Chris here. He done a great work with this book of getting across his message and transforming it in a way for readers to understand, because most of his concepts I grasp quite easily. So shout out to Chris. So some of the 5 key concepts, and shout out to the references I've put in the description. First one being that negotiation begins with listening, making it about other people, validating their emotions, and creating enough trust and safety for a real conversation to begin. I'm not going to talk about this point too much, but I will put out a newsletter post soon, a newsletter insight of my post soon, about how important listening is in conversation. And it really is the hook, line, and sinker. I feel like it's the most important aspect of conversation with another individual. That the fact of the matter is, people, including me and you, like to talk about our lives. We like to talk about things that we enjoy, that we experience. And when someone takes time to listen to what you have to say, you really appreciate what they have to say, and you become likable. The person becomes likable because they are listening to what you have to say. So the best way to get people's respect and admiration for you is to listen to their troubles and take time to actually try your best to understand what they have to say and listen to what they have to say. Second thing is to use mirrors to encourage the other side to empathize and bond with you. Keep people talking, buy your side time to regroup, and encourage your counterparts to reveal their strategy. And you see how with Chris here, he doesn't push heavy on the idea that you need to push on everything. You need to be the number one engager. You need to talk all of the time. With a lot of the negotiation, Chris understands that you need to take the back seat sometimes and be the listener and try to see what the person on the other side, what do they want from this conversation? What is their intentions? And understanding their intentions can further help you decide where do you want to take the conversation in negotiation. How do you want to steer things? And the best way to know where to steer things is understanding what the other side has to say. And with this in mind, to be a lot of a better negotiator, you have to be someone who takes the other side into consideration and understands what do they want. Tactical empathy brings our attention to both the emotional obstacles and the potential pathway to getting an agreement done. Giving someone's emotion a name, otherwise known as labeling, gets you close to someone without asking about external factors you know nothing about. So with the labeling aspect, you do need to learn a little bit about psychology and emotions and emotional intelligence and those sort of labels, and figure out how you can sort of categorize people in terms of their emotional behavior. And you shouldn't be someone that gets into labeling without doing your research, because as much as a benefit is to you, it can be used against you. So it's almost a double-edged sword, because you can label someone and in their eyes they see it incorrectly, and they'll take it the wrong way and see it as an attack that you're trying to attack their character. And I've had it happen to me, and unfortunately I've done it to other people in the past. So this form of labeling should be something that you be careful with, because it's a double-edged sword. However, Chris does explain it in his book, so make sure you check out his book to understand more of what does he refer to when he talks about giving someone's emotion a name. No provides a great opportunity for you and the other party to clarify what you really want by eliminating what you don't want. One of the most important things in negotiation is being able to say no. If you are not able to say no and you say yes to everything, then the negotiation is going to end pretty quickly, because you didn't. By the time the person asks you for 2 requests, you've said yes to both things, and that's it. The negotiation is done. If you want things to steer in your direction and you want your outcome to become the thing that you prioritize, even though you do have to come to a compromise where both parties are somewhat, what do you even call it, somewhat satisfied with the end result, you need to make sure that you prioritize your ideas and your plan. So make sure that no is something you use in your arsenal, because if you have no in your toolkit, you are one step closer to getting what you want. And it's about you. So make sure you prioritize that. Negotiation begins with the universally applicable premise that people want to be understood and accepted. Just like Stephen Covey uses in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, seek first to understand, then to be understood. The same way Chris Voss uses the principle that people want to be understood and accepted. If you understand this principle fully, and one of the best ways to understand this principle fully is to use you as the example. Put yourself in the shoes of someone who wants to be accepted and understood. 10 times out of 10, you want to be understood and accepted. So if you flip this perspective and understanding onto a way that you can project this onto other people and allow other people to experience this, you'll be someone that makes other people feel good and other people feel accepted and understood, which is a very important asset to have. And if we're speaking in networking terms, that will elevate you and accelerate you and expand your network, because people will appreciate your effort in trying to be a good person and trying to understand others. Listening is the cheapest yet most effective concession we can make to get there. By listening intensively, you demonstrate empathy and show a sincere desire to better understand what the other side is experiencing. And also, I just want to add a note of my own experience with listening to others. And I feel like my entire life I've been more of a listener than a speaker. But listening isn't something that is as easy as it may seem, because you want to be someone that you also want to share your experiences. You also want to be involved in conversations. If you are able to sacrifice that feeling in order to make others feel good by allowing them to speak and allow them to share their experiences, you must understand that there is that sacrifice, that you're sacrificing your time to share what you want to share in order for them to share what they want to have to share and feel good about themselves too. So there are good things and bad things to extract from that. There is a sacrifice element. There's also the good element of being able to be a good person and make others feel good, and also understand people better, because like how Chris Voss explains, if you start to understand the other person's perspective more and their emotion and where they're coming from, you can really know where to steer the conversation in terms of negotiation and what is the best for both parties. People who view negotiation as a battle of arguments become overwhelmed by the voices in their head. Negotiation is not an active battle, it's a process of discovery. Your goal is to uncover as much information as possible. So clearly, Chris Voss has talked to many people and has found that a lot of people's intentions are wrong. A lot of people go into a negotiation as a form of arguing, as a form of proving you are right and the other person is wrong. Chris Voss views it as a way of finding out more about the topic that we're going to discuss, that we're going to negotiate on. What can I learn about the other person, as well as what can I learn about myself? How can we both learn a lot from this conversation and come out with the best solution? This is not coming from me. This is coming from Chris Voss in terms of discovery. It's a process of discovery. So there is a lot of credibility to it. A lot of credit to Chris Voss. I think the book is amazing. If you're someone who's interested in negotiation and finding out how you can come to better conclusions, definitely check out his book. There is a lot of value in that book.